Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. It seems like right now the NFL is setting a record. Personally, like from recollection, I don't know if there's been this many vacancies, but it seems like just about every single team needs a new coach right now. And so one of the coaches that has joined this list after stepping down is Coach Mike Tomlin. After spending 19 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and everybody talks about the stat of no losing seasons, finishing above 500, he has officially stepped down, and then it spread all over the sports media landscape after he had announced this. Now, when you say no losing seasons to a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, they don't care. They don't give a crap. But when you look at it and you try to take away from actually kind of an accomplished that it is. Like, it is an impressive feat that I don't know. It's one of those weird stats of like Brett Favre having the most interceptions kind of stat where it's like, well, this is a record that probably won't be broken, but if it does get broken, it's impressive in a weird kind of impressive way, because you look at the Browns within their own division, or you look at the Cardinals, you look at the Titans, you look at like almost half the teams in the league. It's like, yeah, they would love to have how many years? 19 straight years of success. And then with how this season went, they bring on Aaron Rodgers. And I mean, I even made a video joking of how this could be the one and done deal for both guys, where they both ride off into the sunset after going 9-8 and then getting a first round playoff exit. I was correct in some ways. The only thing that I wasn't correct with was the record. They actually went 10-7. Well, with all this joking, the one thing that should be said is he's a really successful coach. And with the thoughts that I had earlier on the statements of how many other coaches and how many other franchises could replicate what he was doing and would want exactly what happened for the Steelers. Yeah, look at the Jets, look at the Giants in the last 10 years. Even though things seem to be going up, because it was going up with Dable, and then you bring on another great quarterback. Like, after you let Jones go, you bring on Dart. Like, things seem to be on the up and up, but then they fire Dable. But there are a lot of teams now who have entered this weird drought. I believe Miami's also in the mix, where they haven't had a playoff win in a while. And there are other teams too where it took a while for the Texans to come back around and start to be successful again. But there was a time when the Texans, the Bills, the Bengals, they would miss the playoffs. And in all these years that they did miss the playoffs, who didn't miss the playoffs? The Steelers. Who else didn't miss the playoffs either? The Ravens. Because there was that rivalry too of, the mid 2010s of how the NFC North always came down to the Steelers and the Ravens. And so I think to clown and to joke about how, the standard is the standard, and, it'll be mediocre quarterback play and offensive play calling, and then getting to the wild card and eventually losing. I think this only became a meme probably after the 2020 season, considering how well they're doing in the 2020 season, because that was one of the craziest. I'm not gonna lie. I admit, sometime in the 2020 season, I had a feeling that the AFC Championship's probably gonna be the Chiefs, because the Chiefs were coming off of winning the Super Bowl. So we have the Chiefs, and then we have the Steelers, who are sitting at 11-0. We're probably gonna meet in the AFC title game, and this is probably Big Ben's chance to get another ring. But then not only that, this is also Mahomes' chance to go through another legend in the NFL, because he tried to go through Brady. It wasn't as successful. But we all know how that ended. The Browns ended up beating the Steelers, which, by the way, hey, I wonder how that Cleveland team ended up with Baker Mayfield. Oh, too soon. But now, as we get a curtain call of the 2025 season, and Tomlin has informed the team that he has stepped down, with also the looming retirement of Aaron Rodgers as well, it kind of seems like the writing is in the sand where, that was the final game, which it was a rough go. It was a rough game to watch, considering the Steelers' defense was absolutely owning the Texans there in the first half with 3 turnovers. But just offense couldn't get it done. If you ask a lot of Steelers fans, it's not that it's controversial, but a lot of things that people talk about is how one of the Steelers' rings was, and I believe it was Tomlin's first, but how people talk about, the only ring Tomlin really won was 43 when the Steelers played the Cardinals, because when they played Seattle, that was already Cowher's team. You know what? I'm going to disagree a little bit on that and go, you know what? I still think coaching is very important and very valuable. You listen to other greats like Belichick, Coach Saban, where they talk about how one of the most underappreciated values in sports is coaching. I think, you know what? They could have had all the talent on that roster. Now, again, I was like, I don't know. I'm still a kid, so I don't even remember Super Bowl 40. There have been teams in the NFL who have had the number one offense or the number one defense or loaded rosters and gotten absolutely nothing done. And so the fact that they loaded back up, went to the Super Bowl, beat the Seahawks, I think it should stand for something, considering Mike Tomlin, I believe, set the record for the youngest head coach to win a Super Bowl. And then, you know, you follow it up a couple years later, the Steelers ended up beating the Cardinals in the Super Bowl, and then follow that up, which is kind of pretty funny and poetic of this whole thing is all these years later, after losing Super Bowl 45 to Aaron Rodgers, Tomlin ends up having him as the quarterback for his last season. It's kind of cool. But I think one thing that can't be ignored from all the success that they had, the Super Bowls that they won, the amount of NFL legends that Tomlin coached and were with the Steelers, because, you know, you throw the Patriots up there, you throw the Ravens, the Broncos, well, anywhere Peyton Manning was, actually, but the Ravens, the Packers, the Steelers were one of those teams as well in the 2010s and, you know, mid-2000s, where this was a team that everybody loved to watch, and this was a team that was very successful. And so to see where it is now, I think that's probably what led to the ultimate decision of Tomlin stepping down. Was like the boos and the criticism got very loud because just the lackluster, I would say, flashiness, which, I mean, sometimes football doesn't matter about flashiness, because what's the most important thing at the end of the game? Winning. And so I think, you know, with not having the flashiness and wins and QB play like, you know, a Burrow or an Allen or prime Aaron Rodgers, where you're winning games 16-13, and for the years and years and years, and I mean, talk about the stat. How many straight wild card exits? 7 in a row. I think it ultimately led to the boiling point of him stepping down, but I don't think that's to take away how successful he actually was as a coach. Because, again, you look at the Titans, you look at, I mean, not Jacksonville now, but before Doug Peterson, before Minnesota, you look at, oh gosh, Arizona, you look at the Saints post Sean Payton. Like, there are a lot of franchises that would be like, hey, we would really love to have a coach here for 20 years. But that's neither here nor there. So be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Your thoughts on Mike Tomlin and how he was as a coach and his success. And I will see you guys in the next video.